Hi, and welcome back to my Tricycle lesson today. Before we start, I want to say sorry I haven't been recording. I've been having to do other responsibilities I have on the house and everything else, and I've been training for um, a couple races and maybe a couple long distance rides. I'm not sure yet, but I've been riding 22 miles a day on both of the green speed and tricycles. Um, and that's what I wanted to come on here really quick to talk about, starting with the green speed arrow. Um, really recently, I've been noticing that the bike has really been coming alive, and what I mean by that is um, when I really push myself to the limit, the bike starts to really act differently. And not in a bad way, of course, but in the way that I mean is, like, it's really taking it really well. I've been cruising at speeds up to 15 to 15 and a half miles an hour, fairly easy. Um, The handling is very on par. Um, so far though, my only um, gripe about it is um, I still have the stock front tires still on it from the factory, and I've been noticing in the last couple rides that the rubber of the tire has has been has been getting cut during my rides, and that's one of the reasons why I had to change the back tire after the second outing with it, because the um, tire got slit and obviously caused it to have a puncture. So um, obviously um, that was the end of that tire. Um, instead of in, instead of going to the company and asking them for a replacement tire, I just decided to put on a brand of tire that I trust. And ever since then, at least with that problem for the back, uh, got better. It solved the problem. So, um, I have ordered some tires, the same brand that is in the rear for the front tires. Unfortunately, they haven't gotten here yet, but they're coming. So what that's going to do for us is um, some 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 new benefits, and one, it would be the tires I chose for the front, like the one in the back, can hold 115 psi versus the stock tires are, are now currently holding 100 psi. So a 15-pound difference, but nevertheless a bigger difference. Um, Another reason is, or another benefit is, the, those new tires are going to be more narrow versus the ones that are much wider. So, and they're going to be much lighter, uh, believe it or not, even the ones that tires are already on there. And the rubber compound is a different, it has like a number of different rubber compounds to be stronger too. So, and actually, like I said, they are lighter and they are more shorter, so they're going to allow the bike to be I would say dropped about almost a half inch in the front. So that puts the bike more uh, more stable because it's more lower. Um, at this point, the bike's naturally low as it is, so lowering the bike even more isn't going to make it any worse. So, you know, however, in my perspective, with more tires with more air, um, we're gonna have a slightly more rougher ride. But if the if if the trade-off is more speed and handling, I'm more than willing to deal with the the roughness of the ride versus the gain. And like I said, the gain is to have more speed and handling and being more low profile. Um, but yeah, I've been really surprised lately with the green speed. Um, like I said, it really comes alive and snappy when um you really push harder. Like I said before, um, when I would ride it, it was kind of bland because it was doing everything right. It turned perfect. Um, it held the speed nice. Um, but at the same time, like I said, I wasn't pushing it. I wasn't like, um, like seeing what it could really do. Um, so yeah, lately I've been pushing myself to my more to my max, but it's been a good thing because um, the outcome is to understand that the bike has more in the tank, so to speak, as in performance to give out. So I'm probably never gonna be maxing the bike out. Um, it's capable of handling a lot more. So hopefully, with the new tires, we can squeeze out a little bit more speed and performance out of it. I will make a video about that when I get the tires, and I wanted to also give an update with the ice bike, and which is kind of funny because I've been also pushing myself on the ice bike as well. Um, and out of the two so far, I've been finding that the ice bike so far, time wise, like for example, um, I've been doing 22.2 miles a day, and um, the ice bike can do the ride. For example, today I did the ride in 1 hour and 52 minutes. Now, the other day I did same ride with the green speed. I did that ride in 2 hours and 2 minutes. So some of you might think that's not a whole lot of time or a whole lot faster. But when you're thinking about racing or any sport that requires obviously high performance or you being fast, a couple minutes apart is actually a pretty big thing. So, but like I said, I'm hoping that I can get those new tires for the green speed. Maybe we can squeeze a bit more top and speed out of it. And before I forget too, I also been um, um, before each ride, I've been adjusting the pedals more towards me to try to get that perfect fit. So that's actually been working as well. I wanted to mention that, like I said before, I forgot. I think it's important with the bike, like the green speed, that throughout your whole rotation on your pedaling, that you have a slight constant pressure on the bottom of your foot, so you can get that full range of power down. At least for me, because I I, I only have, since I'm disabled, I only have power. I would say 98% in my right leg, so me having to have that constant pressure behind that pedal allows me to put every single bit of my power down as I can, not be wasted, not wasted. So that's the reason why I have it set up the way I do. It might be different with you because you might have better access to a more balanced muscle in both legs, so you might be able to apply your power down in a different way than I do. So but so far, by slightly adjusting the pedals towards me, it's actually making the bike go faster too, because throughout my whole power stroke, I'm putting down the full power as I can. The downsides with the green speed is that the clamps it has to connect the front end to the rest of the bike, I don't think they're heavy duty enough. I understand that the company was doing that for the reason of making the bike lighter, and they're trying to shave off any weight that they can off anywhere on the bike. And once you understand that, you're gonna understand why that they did that. And to it being a racing bike, you're gonna have to understand that there's gonna be more maintenance to it, meaning that you might have to check the nuts and bolts on it more often than your average trike. And you might think, why do I have to do that? I don't have to do that on any of my other bikes. Well, here's the thing. And at first I kind of thought about that too. But after a while, I kind of figured that because it's a racing bike and it's a, and because they tried to cut weight off it in many different ways, that you're gonna have to put more time into it to check the nuts and bolts, make sure everything's tight, snug. But I think that's the nature of the beast at this point. If you are willing to take yourself to that next level of competition or racing, or even if you're racing against time, that you're gonna go off into the realm of give and take. I guess you could say the give and take here is because they tried to shave off every single bit of weight possible on these bikes, but it's going to be more on you to make sure that the bike gets proper maintenance, everything stays tight, especially because of the bike not having suspension. Um, there's tons of vibration, road vibration, and everything else that you run over. So keep that in mind, and um, once you understand that, um, it's not so bad, especially um, when you have been riding trucks as long as I have, or even 5 to 10 years, um, and you're prepared to take yourself to the next level. Um, that would be one, and you know, hopefully, by at that time, you're gonna be more comfortable. Um, fixing the bike, taking it apart. If something was wrong, fixing it, understanding how every part functions. Um, I think at that moment, um, you adding more work to do, my, maintenance on it before you ride it, is going to be a big deal. It really isn't a big deal for me because, um, I understand what the company was trying to do with this bike, and it's not your average, um, niche bike. It is a Pacific racing bike, and um, obviously there's not a lot in comparison in any other trike or bike. Um, there's not as many out there, so um, and for a reason. Um, unless, like I said, you were getting into higher speeds and performance. But because it gives us that performance, that speed, it allows us to be more safer doing it. Um, I'm willing to give up, you know, certain things to um for it. So I don't think that's that's not a big thing to ask. Being asked to do. Um, like I said, I'm more than happy to add a little bit more to my checklist before I write. Um, to get that better, to get that better handling and better write out it. But anyway, I wanted to go on in really quick and um, you know, talk, give you a little update on both of the Green Speed and Ice Bike. Um, and just to put a video out there really quick. Um, in the future, I'm gonna try to do this more often. Maybe we can turn this into, perhaps like call it like tricycle talk, or you know, you know, maybe I'll have you are give me some ideas, what what to name it, or I could. I was even thinking about starting a podcast, maybe talk, maybe talk to other writers, or despite if they're tricycle riders or not. I don't know, just something to throw out there. Um, and, if you have any thoughts about that, if you kind of are interested, but if you are interested, if you really would like to see me start a podcast, and it doesn't even have to be just tricycles and bicycles. It could be also, I could talk about um, my handicap and other people's handicaps if they're comfortable talking to, um, just to get more knowledge out there in the world about different people's disabilities. Um, and like I said, who knows? But like I said, comment down below. Let me know what you think about that idea. Should I start a podcast? And if so, about what, or about a number of topics, like I just said, tricycles, bicycles, and disabilities. Or maybe we should call that tricycles, bicycles, and disabilities. You never know. But until next time, bye for now.